It is the bipartisan bill that is now pending in the Congress. The HMOs and the insurance companies support the other bill that's pending, the one that the Republican majority has put forward. They like it because it doesn't accomplish what I think really needs to be accomplished, to give the decisions back to the doctors and nurses and to give you a right of appeal to somebody other than the HMO or insurance company, let you go to the nearest emergency room without having to call an HMO before you call 911, to let you see a specialist if you need to. And it has strong bipartisan support. It is being blocked by the Republican leadership in the Congress, and I specifically would like to know whether Governor Bush will support the Dingell-Norwood bill, which is the main one pending.
Governor Bush, you may answer that if you'd like, but also I'd like to know how you see the differences between the two of you, and we need to move on.
Well, the difference is that I can get it done, that I can get something positive done on behalf of the people. That's what the question in this campaign is about. It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues, but can you get things done? And I believe I can.
All right.
What about the Dingell-Norwood bill?
All right, we're going to go now.
I'm not quite through. Let me finish the question.
Yes,
I talked about the principles and the issues that I think are important in a patient's Bill of Rights. You know, there's this kind of Washington, D.C. focus. Well, it's in this committee, or it's got this sponsor. If I'm the president, we're going to have emergency room care. We're going to have gag orders. Women will have direct access to OB/GYN. People will be able to take their HMO insurance company to court. That's what I've done in Texas, and that's the kind of leadership style I'll bring to Washington.
All right, the next question also on a health issue. It's from, it will be asked by Marie Payne Clapey, and it goes to Governor Bush.
Are either of you concerned with... I gotta put my glasses on.
Here you go.
I've got...
Okay. Are either of you concerned with finding some feasible way to lower the price of pharmaceutical drugs, such as education on minimizing intake, revamp of the FDA process, or streamline the drug companies' procedures instead of just finding more money to pay for them?
Well, that's a great question. I think one of the problems we have, particularly for seniors, is there's no prescription drug coverage in Medicare, and therefore when they have to try to purchase drugs, they do so on their own. There's no kind of collective bargaining. There's no power of purchasing amongst seniors. So I think step one to make sure prescription drugs is more affordable for seniors, and those are the folks who really rely upon prescription drugs a lot these days, is to reform the Medicare system, is to have prescription drugs as an integral part of Medicare once and for all. The problem we have today is that, like the Patient's Bill of Rights, particularly with health care, there's a lot of bickering in Washington, D.C. It's kind of like a political issue as opposed to a people issue. So what I want to do is I want to call upon Republicans and Democrats to forget all the arguing and finger pointing and come together and take care of our seniors with a prescription drug program that says we'll pay for the poor seniors, we'll help all seniors with prescription drugs. In the meantime, I think it's important to have what's called immediate helping hand, which is direct money to states so that seniors, poor seniors, don't have to choose between food and medicine. That's a part of an overall overhaul. But purchasing power is important. I'm against price controls. I think price controls would hurt our ability to continue important research and development. Drug therapies are replacing a lot of medicines as we used to know it. One of the most important things is to continue the research and development component. And so I'm against price controls. Expediting drugs through the FDA makes sense, of course. Allowing the new bill that was passed in the Congress made sense to allow for drugs that were sold overseas to come back, in other countries to come back into the United States. That makes sense. But the best thing to do is to reform Medicare.
Vice President Gore, 2 minutes.
All right, here we go again. Now look, if you want someone who will spend a lot of words describing a whole convoluted process and then end up supporting legislation that is supported by the big drug companies, this is your man. If you want someone who will fight for you and who will fight for the middle-class families and working men and women who are sick and tired of having their parents and grandparents pay higher prices for prescription drugs than anybody else, then I want to fight for you. And you asked a great question, because it's not only seniors. Listen, for 24 years, I have never been afraid to take on the big drug companies. They do some great things. They discover great new cures, and that's great. We want them to continue that. But they are now spending more money on advertising and promotion, you see all these ads, than they are on research and development. And they're trying to artificially extend the monopoly patent protection so they can keep charging these very high prices. I want to streamline the approval of the competing generic drugs and the new kinds of treatments that can compete with them, so that we bring the price down for everybody. Now, briefly, let me tell you how my prescription drug plan works. The governor talked about Medicare. I propose a real prescription drug benefit under Medicare for all seniors. All seniors. And here's how it works. You pick your own doctor, and nobody can take that away from you. The doctor chooses the prescription that you need, and nobody can overrule your doctor. You go to your own pharmacy, and then Medicare pays half the price. If you're poor, they pay all of it. If you have extraordinarily high cost, then they pay all over $4,000 out of pocket. And I'll bring new competition to bring the price down, and if you pass the big drug companies bill, nothing will happen.
All right, another health question. It comes from Vicki French, and it's for you, Vice President Gore. Vicki French, where are you? Oh, there she is. Yes.
We spend billions of dollars every year on taxes, or pay billions of dollars in taxes. Would you be open to the idea of a national health care plan for everybody? And if not, why? If so, is this something you would try to implement if you're elected into office, and what would you do to implement this plan?
I think that we should move step by step toward universal health coverage, but I am not in favor of government doing it all. We've spent 65 years now on the development of a hybrid system, partly private, partly public. And 85% of our people have health insurance, 15% don't. That adds up to 44 million people. That is a national outrage. We have got to get health coverage for those who do not have it. And we've got to improve the quality for those who do, with a Patient's Bill of Rights that's real and that works, the Dingell-Norwood bill. And we have got to fill in the gaps in coverage by finally bringing parity for the treatment of mental illness, because that's been left out. We've got to deal with long-term care. Now, here are the steps that I would take first of all. I will make a commitment to bring health care coverage of high quality that is affordable to every single child in America within 4 years. And then we'll fill other gaps by covering the parents of those children when the family is poor, or up to 2.5 times the poverty rate. I want to give a tax credit for the purchase of individual health insurance plans. I want to give small business employers a tax credit, 25%, to encourage the providing of health insurance for the employees in small businesses. I want to give seniors who are, well, the near elderly, I don't like that term because I'm just about in that category. But those 55 to 65 ought to be able to buy into Medicare for premiums that are reasonable and fair and significantly below what they have to get now. Now, we have a big difference on this, and you need to know the record here. Under Governor Bush, Texas has sunk to be 50th out of 50 in health insurance for their citizens. Last week, he said that they were spending